Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my new cold Runemaster. I've been working on this build for over 2 weeks on stream and it feels like it is in a really good place. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now the skills I'm using for this cold Runemaster, and I guess it's actually more of a Frost Wall Runemaster, are Flame Ward, Flame Rush in its cold version, Frost Wall, Runic Invocation, and Lightning Blast, also in its cold form. And it is based upon this new unique phrase Retreat, which basically gives you a big boost to your Frost Wall. But more importantly, it doesn't matter what invocation you have set up. When you use Frost Wall, it automatically triggers Blizzard. See my Blizzard? I don't have Blizzard right here, but when I hit Frost Wall, it automatically pulls up Blizzard. We are also set into Swirling Frost, so that we are going to be auto-triggering that all the time. So we've also got damage over time cold all the time we are running around. So let's take this for a little spin and see how we can do. And you always are going to do this little kind of jump back movement thing with your Frost Wall when you have this new unique. And we are focused on damage over time. And as you can see, we were just going to tear through wow, this is a very short run. And let's get everything triggered. Everything is cold damage over time with Frostbite. When you actually have a boss to fight, you can get up to about 100 stacks, and that's with terrible gear. You can get it way higher than that if you have better stuff than what I'm rocking right now. And you are dead. That was very quick. Let's do another one. And we're off. All right. Now, I know I'm going to get tons of questions. How can you make a cold Runemaster, Aaron, and not use the new skill Frost Claw? It is the best thing the game has. And it is true. Frost Claw is a very good skill. And on last night's stream, we did lots of testing. And I tested and tested and tested. And the way I have this currently built out, Lightning Blast functions better, in my opinion. That doesn't mean you can't switch in Frost Claw if that is what you prefer. I'm just saying the way this is set right now, I like Lightning Blast better. And it shoots from our Frost Wall, so it just has really good synergy. Hello, Mr. Mage. Let's see if we can kill you. Oh, yeah, you are not going to last very long, and you are dead. Obviously empowered content right now. Took down Lagon. Killing Shades. Finally starting to push up with our Runemaster. And I think we are level 92. After this build, we're going to move over to Fire. I said my first 3 will be Lightning, Cold, and Fire. And then we'll see what we could do Tri-Element. So kind of the way I rotate it is shoot, Frost Wall, and then dash through it and explode. Now, it's also really important to ensure you get Lightning Blast as a 0 mana cost. I can tell you that I would have had this build out probably a week earlier if I could have figured that out. And done. All right, let's fight a Shade of Oribus. All right, jump out of here, Shade of Oribus.
An eternity of pain.
All right, so far so good. Can't touch this. I think we're gonna be able to win this fight. And Shade of Orbis, you are dead. I've got one more thing to show you. The last thing I want to show you is the little perk on the movement skill inside of Frostwall, which is absolutely awesome. As you can see, there's a very tall wall right here, and we cannot use a movement skill to get up there. But with Frostwall, you absolutely can. You could go through or up anything. See that? Again, bug or feature, I don't know, but it functions in dungeons and it functions in maps. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's check out the skills, starting with our first skill, Flame Ward, and I'm going to take you through the order you should put the points. It does matter if you are leveling this up, unless you're already end game. Now, for Flame Ward, pretty basic setup. You want 3 points into Dilation, 2 into Stalwart Defense, 1 into Desperate Defense, 2 into Fuel the Flames, 1 into Dual Aegis. Then you want to come down, 5 into Barrier, 3 into Prismatic Buffer. This is going to leave you with 3 points. Now, a lot of people put them in Energize. That is basically the standard setup for Flame Ward. I like going up and putting 2 points into Desperate Defense and 1 into Astonish. This is going to make it where when you get hit or stunned, it auto triggers, and that's one of the main times you actually want to use this skill. So I just like kind of having that basically auto trigger. You can set it how you want. Moving over to the core skill, Frost Wall. You want to come up first, 4 into Biting Limit, 4 into Lightning Rod, 1 into Charge Pylons, and 2 into Amplified Current. This is going to give you more Frostbite, and it is going to trigger your Lightning Blast from your Frost Wall's left and right pillars. You then want to come down, 2 into Marching Winters and 5 into Dark Cloud. Obviously, this is a damage over time buff for your Frost Wall. And then you want to come down, 2 into Crystals of Protection, 3 into Boosted Kickoff, and 1 into Runic Conclusion. When you cast your Frost Wall, it is going to explode. It's going to put Frostbite on enemies. It's going to do damage over time. It is going to trigger a Blizzard, and it is going to shoot Cold Lightning Blasts, all from one skill. And on top of that, it's going to give you Frenzy and Haste. Just absolutely amazing skill. Moving over to Lightning Blast. What you want to do first is actually come to the right. Right now, I've got 4 points into Front Loaded and 1 into Innate Conduit. This is because you want to be able to shoot all the time, even if you don't have any mana. So you want to take this first. Then you want to go left. 2 into Arcing Power, 1 into Closed Circuit, 4 into Crackling Speed, 3 into Shatter Shock, then come down, 4 into Overcharge, and 1 into Hypercharge. Again, we are not going to need this cold node here because we're going to get it from our passive tree, which I will show you in the next section. Moving over to Flame Rush, one of the best, if not the best, movement skills in the game. What you want to do first, 2 points into Overload, 1 point into Epi. This node is absolutely amazing. When you come out of Flame Rush, it is basically going to use your invocation, and it's just an auto trigger. Just gives you so much damage and a lot less clicking. 2 points into Protection, 1 into Energy, 1 point into Snowballing. This turns it into a cold skill. 1 point into Branding Cold. Then you want to come up, 3 into Blazing Flux, 3 into Eclipse, 3 into Guidance, and then your last 3 points over here on Solar Rush. Honestly, when you're thinking about this skill, these points right here you should take first. The rest of this stuff you can kind of take however you want. There's not a specific order that super matters. Last but not least, Runic Invocation. What you want to do first is you want to go left. You want 4 points into Attuned Approach, 1 point into Patterns, 1 point into Arcania, and 1 point into Order. Now, this node is very important, and a lot of people still don't understand it. When you take this node, however you have your skills on your bar is the runes it is going to make. So for me, Fire, Cold is what always generates based upon what I have on my bar. So it's important to also copy the order I have of my skill bar for this build. Okay. You then want to come up, 1 into Lore, 3 into Haste, 4 into Unbridled Ruin, 2 into Starfall. Then lastly, the last 4 points into Power. Those are the skills. Moving over to the passives. Now this Frostwall Runemaster is currently level 92 and I have all 15 points from the campaign. Looking at the base Mage tree right now, I have 20 points into it exactly. 6 into Scholar, 8 into Arcanist, 5 into Mage Flurry, and 1 into Rune of Winter. Now Rune of Winter is very important because this singular point makes your Lightning Blast a cold skill. You have to take this point. It is required. And by the way, the 6 and 8, you could flip-flop these. If you want 8 into Scholar and 6 into Arcanist, you could do that as well. Looking at Spellblade, you want nothing. Moving over to Runemaster, currently have 69 points into it. And we're going to look at this first tree that gives you a lot of survivability first. Unsealed Mana, we have 5 points into it. And you need to have Lightning Blast cost you 0 mana, or else this 5-point bonus does not work. Whenever you directly use a skill in a row that costs 0 mana, you get a burst of mana and ward. This has a 3-second cooldown. Very nice to keep you topped off on mana and some survivability. Under Arcane Focus, every time you cast a spell, you are going to get ward as well. And on Transcendence, this is going to give you more ward and health, but more ward if you have over 60 intelligence, which we have. Lots of survivability through the top tree. Moving down to the middle, Sphere of Protection. This is going to give you life and damage reduction. Should be in every mage build. 2 into Circle of Elements and 7 into Freezing Point. One of the most important nodes in the entire build. This is going to turn all of your armor shred into Frostbite Chance. So you could put Frostbite Chance or you could stack armor shred. They both function basically as one and the same. On the bottom here, 7 into Triumph. This is going to give you more spell damage and it's going to get a bonus at 7. You want 5 into Never Late. Even though this is not a crit build, this is going to give you more spell damage, and it's just so much crit that for 5 points, you should take it. My build right now has a 30% crit chance. It actually gets higher than that with Lightning Blast, and we're not even spec'd into it really. 2 points into Rune of Dilation. This is going to give you 2 seconds after a traversal skill, cast speed and movement. And actually, once I level up, I'm going to put 3 points into this. So my 93rd level, this will go to 3 and then stop there. 8 points into Inscriptions. This is going to give you cooldown. 5 points into Branded Deception. Level 94. That passive point will go here to make this 6 out of 6. And then last point under Avalanche. All you need is 1 point in here. The 20% on a cold skill is going to trigger all the time. And right now my weapon has Ignite on it. This only helps you if you can actually get Ignite stacks on an enemy, and I am able to do that. Okay, that's what you want with Avalanche. Moving over to Source, we have 5 into Arcane Momentum, 6 into Essence, which is going to give you a bonus to your movement speed. Again, we are really, really quick. And then 5 points into Destruction, which again is going to give you a bunch of crit chance and intelligence. Even though we are not a crit build, it still gives you a boost to your damage. Those are the passives. Moving over to everyone's favorite gear, starting with idols. Now, you probably know this about me, but I love lightning. And because of my love for lightning, I didn't save any of my good old idols. And as of right now, I don't have a single idol I recommend for this build. It is actually quite embarrassing, okay? But just think about how far this build could go if you actually had the proper gear. That being said, the main idol you want to look for is a 2x2, and this is an adorned idol, and it can roll as high as a 57% chance to apply Frostbite on cold hit. And of course, you could have 4 of these. And then the bottom affix, you could also roll with health or spell cold damage. Now, there's one other idol that is really, really good. This is a Grand Idol 3x1, and you can get cold damage over time or base damage over time. And you can get both of them, and it can roll as high as 90%. And again, you could have 4 of those. 4 at 90%. Those are the main idols you want to look for. All right, moving over to gear. There's one unique that is absolutely required to make this build work, and that is the new Catalyst Phrase Retreat. And I showed this off earlier in the video. Now, I've only found one, and this one actually didn't roll with LP, which sucks, but it is a perfect +4 to Frost Wall, which is awesome. Okay, this is what's going to always trigger that blizzard when you use your Frost Wall. A couple other uniques you want to look for. You want Frostbite Shackles. Not required, but in my opinion, best in slot. And you want to use Snowdrift. Not required, but best in slot. Snowdrift's pretty special because it does 2% cold penetration with Frostbite per 10% of freeze rate multiplier. So you try and stack up as much freeze rate multiplier, which in turn gives you a lot of cold penetration. And my Snowdrifts rolled with almost a perfect tier 7 movement speed, obviously, which makes it awesome. But our Frostbite Shackles, no LP on the ones we have found so far. Now, when it comes to your Relic, right now I am not struggling with survivability, so I'm taking extra damage, endurance, life, and mana with this Relic that I found the other night. As I get more into endgame, I would definitely want to use Twisted Heart, trying to find the right affix to attempt this legendary conversion on it. But you can go straight with Twisted Heart, or you can use your best Relic, kind of a personal preference depending on where you are at. Now, I'm going to go through each item I'm wearing, and then we're going to talk about weapons. Helmet. Amulet. Armor. Ring. Belt. Ring. And weapon. Okay. Now, this weapon, elemental damage, spell, ignite, freeze rate multiplier. There is one thing on the weapon that is required. You need to have -3 spell mana cost. You got to use a wand or have a scepter with the affix rolled on it to bring down your spell mana cost to get your lightning blast to 0. That is very, very important. This is not the wand you would want to use for endgame, but I have a couple other examples. This is a scepter I have that has over 350% of freeze rate multiplier. It's also got -4 mana cost with cold damage. I have another wand. This has cast speed, spell, freeze rate, and -3 to mana. And for the longest time, I was actually using a legendary frozen ire. But unfortunately, even though this gives me so much added damage, it does not have the -3 mana cost on it, so it just doesn't work for this build. I need to find a new one with legendary potential and go through it. Okay, one other notable part of this build that I feel like a lot of people miss. Okay, on this wand there is another reason I am using it, and you will notice on here 44% chance to ignite on hit. I'm going to be igniting enemies when you're fighting bosses. 44% chance normally gets you about 10 stacks. You're hitting hard enough, you can get about 10 stacks. Now, why is that important? Let's go over to our passives, and you will see right here, Rune Word Avalanche. When you directly use a cold skill, you have a chance to gain Rune Word Avalanche, a buff that grants additional spell damage and grants additional endurance threshold per stack of ignite on the attacker. This buff lasts 6 seconds and does not stack. We have to ensure that we are igniting enemies to be getting the buff from Avalanche, okay? If you don't have ignite on any of your gear, then you should not have this point in there. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that is the gear. Moving over to the character sheet. Now our Frostwall Runemaster, like I said, is level 92, intelligence 66, vitality 26. Magic number on intelligence is 60 to get that passive bonus. Movement speed 42. Looking at resistances, void is good, necrotic's good, poison, physical, lightning are solid. Cold needs a little bit of work, and actually the only resistance that we're struggling with right now is fire. Armor 23% on 452, pretty low, but ward retention 367. Looking at other defenses, endurance is maxed at 60 with endurance threshold at 405. This would be higher with our ignite stacks. And then critical strike avoidance 82%. And again, you could always look at your other and show on here that you have your ignite chance and our freeze rate multiplier at 509. Now, just like my lightning build, we are using lightning blast converted into cold. So whenever you're around enemies and you are shooting and you're bouncing stuff around, you will see your spell critical strike chance can get as close to 80%, and your cold damage will spike as high as almost 700%. Just by hitting enemies with your cold spell. This isn't using our blizzard, this isn't using our invocation, and you will see that the dots are still ticking. Those are the character stats. Now let's talk sustain. Aaron, this is great, but how do I keep my Runemaster alive? That is a great question. And we're going to start off inside of the passive tree. Now you probably guessed it that ward is going to be your savior, that and damage reduction for your Runemaster. And when you look at the Runemaster top tree right here, these 4 nodes you are really going to like. This is going to give you ward burst. This is going to give you ward when you cast a spell. This is going to give you ward for having over 60 intelligence. And this is going to give you ward every 2 seconds plus a bonus. Okay. So there's going to be a large generation of ward from these top 4 nodes. On top of that, Sphere of Protection is going to give you life and less damage taken from ignite, shocked, and chilled enemies. And of course, all enemies you will fight will be chilled and ignited. So that is just in the passive tree. Then when you move over to your skills, obviously tons of damage reduction and life inside of Flame Ward. Inside of Frost Wall, you got a little bit of ward you're going to get here as well. Inside of Flame Rush, you're going to get less damage taken, and you're going to get a little bit of ward here. And inside of Runic Invocation, you are going to get ward when you use your invocation, and you're going to get ward for channeling runes. So there's lots of places you're going to be able to get ward. Of course, you can also use Twisted Heart, which will just add to that. When I was using Twisted Heart earlier today doing my tests, we were sitting anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 ward when we were fighting. But again, not struggling with survivability right now, so I just have it spec'd into damage. So those are a lot of the ways that you're going to be able to stay alive inside of this build, is really damage reduction and ward generation. But of course, on top of that, you're going to have your 4 cores, which is life. Okay, I'm over 2,000 life right now, and you can easily push this to 3,000. You are going to have your resistances, you're going to have your endurance, and you're going to have your crit avoidance. So if you get those 4 with your damage reduction and your ward generation, I mean, look, we're not doing anything. We're literally not even moving right now when we're generating 700 ward. You should have no problem staying alive. Last but not least, let's talk leveling. Aaron, this is great. How do I get it from level 1 to end game? Well, it's a great question. Let me see if I can answer that for you. I level all my mages, Spellblade, Source, Runemaster the exact same way. Elemental Nova is the first skill that I take, and you want this to be a Lightning Nova. I'm biased towards lightning. And you want to take this top tree right here. It's going to give you base crit. It's going to give you area. And then you're going to come up right here and you're going to take Arcania, which is going to give you more area and more damage. Okay. Then you got your AoE skill. Second skill you want to take is Teleport. This is going to be your movement skill. And Teleport does something very important. It casts Elemental Novas. So you want to put 1 point here, 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3. This is going to make it with when you use Teleport, you're going to cast 3 Elemental Novas. So you can kill stuff in the campaign without having to stop moving. So you could traverse it very quick. You could also put 4 points into Comet Rush, which is going to allow you to use Teleport more often. The last skill you want to use is the newcomer, and this is Frost Claw. And you want to convert your cold Frost Claw into a lightning skill, so all 3 are lightning. And that is this node right here, Spark Artillery. Now there's 2 other nodes you want to take, and you already have to take a couple here. Gift of Winter. This is going to make it where you can use it more often because it uses less mana. And then you want to come to the left right here and take Frozen Rain, which is also going to further bring down your mana cost to -3. That way you can use Frost Claw all the time with Elemental Nova with your Teleport. And then the last skill you would take, and you can honestly just throw it on your bar without even being spec'd into it, is Flame Ward. So it helps you with survivability, giving you a burst of ward whenever you need it. That is how you level up. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new Frost Wall Runemaster? Is there something I missed? Is there something I can do to push us to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I deserve it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm gonna work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. I get asked all the time, Aaron, what is the best way to support? And Patreon is it. You get access to the VIP lounge where you can chit chat every day. You get access to the bonus hour of the podcast. You have the ability to live stream with me weekly. So many good things about Patreon. It is the best way. First link in the description. That's all I've got today. We now have lightning done and cold. We are moving on to fire. Hopefully you are entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.
Thank